When you're not.
Only twice.
Me too, twice.
Yeah. There was stuff that I actually needed that I was like, oh my god, this is why I should be able to do it. What? Because I don't have our desks together.
I'm like equidistant because this one in like 20 minutes. So it works out. Yeah, it's otherwise all right.
Well, I went back on the day that and it was literally crazy. And like everyone was there. It was like, I've been so surprised for so long that everyone was so good.
I was in the like right before.
You would have walked back to our
It's really nice. No, I only had the small one that was in the case.
That was a big heavy duty barrel one, wasn't in here?
No.
Uh-oh. Yes, I do.
What you guys end up doing with the Goshen Fair? Yeah?
Much better than last year. The weather was good.
Yeah.
The revenues were up. We don't know what the net's going to be yet, but
Okay.
it was much better than last year.
That's awesome.
And no real problems. That would be our nightmare.
I know.
You read
I
that
know.
paper. You're pretty peaceful here.
And I feel like that's probably the biggest township sort of event that happens. I mean, East Goshen and West Goshen, so we're lucky that, you guys keep it under control. It's very good.
Yeah, we've got a good base of volunteers. Keep it going.
Yeah.
Hopefully for years to come.
Hopefully.
It's a job.
Kids love it. People love it. They really do.
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the West Goshen Township Board of Supervisors meeting for Tuesday, August the 19th. To start the meeting, will you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be aware this meeting is being live streamed on YouTube, and the meeting may also be audio or video recorded by people present in the room. First item of business is public comment. Is there anyone in attendance who has a question or a comment for the board and staff about something that is not on the agenda? Very good. We'll move on to agenda item number 4, which is discussion regarding the Rosedale Avenue sidewalk project. And Chris, if you wouldn't mind introducing this.
Mr. Chairman, before the board this evening is the final plans for the Rosedale Avenue sidewalk project. Just for a little bit of background information, the board reviewed a petition that was submitted in 2023 for a sidewalk connection from the Cambridge Halls apartments east to an existing sidewalk connection on Rosedale Avenue. The October 17th meeting, the board authorized, 2023, the board authorized the submission of a local share account grant program installation for the installation of sidewalk in this area, and the township's application was submitted and subsequently funded by the Department of Community and Economic Development in the amount of $85,368. And at the December 17th, 2024 meeting, the board approved a proposal from Carroll Engineering Corporation for professional services for this project and the easement agreement with the property owner at the July 1st, 2025 meeting. The bidding process is scheduled to begin on August 21st, 2025, with the final bid results being brought back to the board for award consideration at the September 16th, 2025 meeting. The plans have been prepared by Carroll Engineering and reviewed by the Township Engineer Brian Kolakowski, and all of Brian's comments have been incorporated. There's one final item to review with the board as it relates to the potential installation of trees along the project. The possibility was recently recommended, and potential installation of trees, which specifically 7 white swamp oaks, has been outlined on the plan set. The installation of trees has been outlined as an alternate bid item. These are outside of the permanent easement for the project and the public right-of-way for Rosedale Avenue. So under the Township's Code of Ordinances, the maintenance would fall to the property owner. I did speak to the property owner about this, and she is fine with the trees being installed as long as she does not need to maintain them. If the board does desire to install trees in this area, a separate agreement could be considered. And that's everything.
Thank you, Chris. So in reviewing the plan, it was my suggestion to consider putting several trees along the side of the sidewalk, just to provide shade and shade canopy for the actual path itself. In talking with Brian there, it looks like they would have to fall outside our permanent easement, as Chris outlined, and so therefore they would be on the Hicks Cemetery property. Personally, I don't believe that there's a lot of maintenance for a healthy tree that's planted, and maybe some pruning in years to come. And if, of course, if there's any storm damage, we would be responsible for any cleanup in this situation, subject to the agreement being in place. So personally, I would be in favor of this, but we want to just make sure the board's aware of this. It is an alternate on the bid item, so we don't necessarily need to make any decision tonight. We can wait and see what the price is when the bids come in, and then decide at that time. So with that background, does the board have any questions about this?
I have a question. Mr. Bayshore, what are you talking about maintenance the township would have to take on responsibility for? What are we talking about? How much time are we talking about? How many, man hours or whatever? Do we have to rig up leaves? I mean, what are we talking about?
I can't effectively answer that question regarding the amount of man hours, but I would imagine that the maintenance would be limited to pruning, any sort of treatment, maintenance, watering as they get established. I don't believe we'd have to rake or remove any leaves from the property. We don't do that in our park system currently. That would be it. I view the maintenance as relatively minimal once they get established. The one thing to keep in mind, though, is the Hicks Friends Cemetery does lease space to the Calvary Lutheran Church at the intersection of Rosedale and New Street for their community garden. So the location that's been identified is on the other side of the post and rail fence, right in front of the community garden. So we just have to be careful about not impacting that established area.
But they don't seem to have a problem with this.
I haven't spoken to the church.
Oh,
I know the property owner doesn't have an issue.
Frankly, I think trees are good. I mean, we're a tree city, aren't we? I mean, why not plant these trees? I think that would be a good thing.
So I just want to make sure I understand. So this is outside of the easement area.
Correct.
This is completely on the Hicks property?
Correct.
Behind the fence?
Correct.
But next to the community gardens that the Hicks lease to the church?
Yes, it's in front of it. There's I think we measured off roughly about 15 feet between the fence line and where the garden starts. So it would be in that 15-foot area.
So what kind of agreement would need to be between us and the Hicks Cemetery? Like an easement, or is this just more of an understanding that we would trim the trees and it would just be on our property?
A written maintenance agreement. I'll defer to the solicitor, but I think it would just be a simple maintenance agreement.
Yeah, there would be it would be a maintenance agreement at the end of the day. There may be some easement language in it that gives the township the right to put the trees there, but it would be a maintenance agreement.
I don't know much about this particular tree, but I know when we did Hamlet Hill, there was a lot of watering involved initially for the first several years, because I know that was an issue that we had when we started the project of making sure we had barrels of water there and also people to go and actually water it. So is that a problem for the township? I'm assuming this tree would probably be the same, and then we had the deer too. We have to be careful about the deer. So.
I'll defer to Brian on that.
So is
So
that?
the trees in Hamlet Hill were whips, they were really thin ones. These
Yeah.
have to meet our tree standards, which is a 2.5-inch caliber tree to go in the ground to start with.
Okay, to
So a
start.
lot of the trees are already gonna be that big around.
Okay.
The big balls you see with the trees, that's what these are gonna be, street trees. They're not gonna be the whips you planted at Hamlet Hill.
Right.
So will you be watered? Yes, that will be part of the contract, and the contractor is responsible for a year.
The contractor would be responsible for that?
Yes.
Okay.
If we go down, that would be the same thing like right now with Government Services Center Basin. The contractor is responsible for the maintenance of the landscaping in that basin for the first year. So it's in the contractor to ensure that he survived the first year.
Okay, and that would be the same
Then-
thing here?
Yes,
Okay.
but the size of the trees would meet our tree plan requirements in the ordinance today, which is,
A lot
I
larger.
believe it's 2.5-inch caliber trees.
How tall do these trees get?
Pretty tall.
So my question would be, if there's a garden there and the trees are tall, it's going to impact the growth of whatever they're planting in the garden.
Good, yeah.
It's something that can be further evaluated once the bids come in, because it's going to go in. To stop it and to take it out now is too long, will delay the bidding process. So we made it an add alternate, where it's an alternate line that can be added, it can be avoided or not. It's not part of the mixed bid.
And would the cost of the trees be covered by the grant, or would that be separate?
Well, the grant's not going to cover the full cost of the project. We budgeted $105,000, the grant award was at just over $85,000. So it's not going to cover the full cost. If I were to estimate the price of the trees, I would say for 7 of this caliber, $3,000 maybe.
Yeah.
Typically, I see $350 to $500 a piece in an escrow estimate for the contractor, but that's the contractor's cost to put it in the ground. I don't know what ours is going to be.
And so if we're looking at somewhere in the middle, around $450, $200.
We can, I mean, we can, like I said, we can defer this decision until the actual bids come in.
Yeah,
obviously, so.
Okay, so it's ultimately going to be a policy decision for the board. I just wanted to make sure you were aware of it, because the bids are going to go live on the 21st, and then they'll be brought back on this at the September 16th meeting.
And in the board packet, there was a bidding and construction schedule which shows, I believe, Brian, that work is completed by mid-November.
December.
Substantial completion is mid-November. Okay. Any other questions?
I think Mr. Crum has a question.
Steve?
I think this is great. I think the trees were a good idea. I'm sure if you talk to Calvert with them, they'll probably work out something like that. But since this project took like 2.5 years to come to fruition, could we look at doing this on a more annual basis of adding a piece of sidewalk in the township where it's needed? I know you're going to be doing the bridge and sidewalk on Montgomery Avenue. That's coming up. Maybe we can consider other areas that are more pedestrian friendly, like the space between the Aldi and the borough. Along there, there's a cemetery. People walk along that road all the time. And maybe you can start budgeting and looking at grant money every year for a piece of sidewalk. Just a suggestion. I think it really enhances the community, makes it more walkable.
Yeah, I would agree with you about that by the cemetery there on Paley Park. I mean, they walk in the street there and it's very dangerous.
Yeah.
Because it's a steep slope there, so it's.
And also even along Route 3, okay? People walk along Route 3 all the time, and it's very dangerous.
I know, that's a PennDOT thing, right?
I know it's a PennDOT road, but, so maybe we can just, maybe the township can start to look at these as maybe an annual thing, adding sidewalks that help the community. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Any other comments from anyone? Very good. We'll move on to agenda item number 5, which is a public hearing and possible adoption of ordinance number 6, 2025, regarding the sewer employees pension plan with the administration and roads pension plan effective October, merging the sewer employees pension plan with the administration and roads pension plan effective October the 1st, 2025. Okay, we have our solicitor down with this one, but before we ask Ari to comment on it, this was discussed at our last board meeting, I believe, Chris. We talked about the rationale behind it and the basis for us being able to get some administrative type savings in having a combined plan. Instead of the 3 we have today, we just have the 2, the police uniform pension plan and then the non-uniform pension plan. There are no material differences between the administration and roads plan and the existing sewer plan. So this is simply a consolidation into one plan.
And also, if I may just add on briefly, this wouldn't impact really the funding ratios at all. They're roughly funded almost identically.
No difference in benefits. One plan.
Yeah, both benefits are, the benefits are calculated the exact same way. The employee contributions are exactly the same. Everything about them is identical.
Okay, Laurie, is there any legal words you want to say around the public hearing?
Well, yes, the public hearing having been convened, I would just like to note for the record 2 exhibits. Exhibit B1 is proof of publication of proposed ordinance 6-2025 in the Daily Local News on August 11, 2025, and B2 is an email dated August 7th to the Chester County Law Library and Daily Local News providing proposed amendment for public inspection. I will note that there's a second ordinance that will be considered momentarily on the agenda for renaming of the pension plan, which should be addressed in a separate hearing.
Thank you, Ari. Is there any board questions or comments?
So that was Exhibit A and Exhibit B?
Exhibit B1 and B2. They're exhibits for the hearing, not exhibits for the ordinance.
Okay.
When would the participants, both current and future, be notified? Would this be after we address this issue tonight?
Yes,
After we pass it?
Assuming everything's adopted after consolidation and renaming, yes.
Any other questions? Okay, I will make a motion then to approve and adopt ordinance number 6/2025, merging the sewer employees pension plan with the administration and roads pension plan effective from October the 1st, 2025.
And I'll second.
Thank you, John. Is there any board comments or questions? Is there any public comments or questions on the motion? Doug? The mic may not be on, Doug.
Test. Okay, we go. Doug White, West Goshen. Was the reasoning for having separate pensions because the pension was funded by the sewer rates and the accounting was differently? Is that why they were separate in times past?
I can't really answer that question. My best guess is because of the different funds and the existence of the authority. However, the recommendation came from the Auditor General's office.
Okay.
So
everything can be managed the same?
Yes.
But we'll get savings out of this a little bit?
Yes, because what'll happen is if there have to be any changes, right now there would have to be 2 ordinances that would be prepared. There would only have to be 1. There would have to be 205 calculations that'll have to be done. Now there's only going to have to be 1, so there are going to be some administrative savings. It's also logistical as well.
Okay, so when the sewer fund funds it and then the general fund funds it, will one dilute down the other and cause any kind of problem, or?
No, there's still going to have to be a certain allocation of the annual MMO from the sewer fund because we do allocate salaries there. It's more of an administrative item.
Okay, so the allocations will still be accounted for. Okay.
Yes.
That's good. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Is anyone else with a question? Okay, we're ready to take a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Is there any opposition? Hearing none, the motion passes 5-0. Next on the agenda is item number 6, which is a public hearing and possible adoption of ordinance number 7/2025, which establishes the West Goshen Township non-uniform employees pension plan. So this is goes in parallel with what we've just approved. This is establishing a new plan for the combined administration and road staff and the sewer staff. Chris, is there anything else you want to add? We've opened the hearing, so is there anything you want to add? And then we'll ask Ari about the details.
No, Mr. Chairman, this is essentially creating the new non-uniform pension plan that will go into effect on October 1st. As previously noted, there are no material changes to benefit calculations, employee contributions, vesting schedule. None of that is changing. It just simplifies things.
Okay, thank you. And Ari, has this been advertised as appropriate?
It has. This hearing has been advertised in the Daily Local News on August 11th, 2025. That's marked as Exhibit B1 in the exhibits for tonight's hearing. Exhibit B2 is an email dated August 7th to the Chester County Law Library and Daily Local News providing the proposed amendment for public inspection. Those are the board exhibits.
Thank you, Ari. Any questions or comments from the board? Okay, I'll make a motion to approve and adopt ordinance number 7, 2025, establishing the West Goshen Township non-uniformed employees pension plan. Thank you, John. Is there any comments or questions from the board? Is there any public comments or questions? Okay, we'll take a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Is there any opposition? Hearing none, the motion passes 5-0. Agenda item number 7 is reports for the month of July. And we start with the police report presented by Chief Michael Carroll.
Thank you. Thank you. The report for the police department for July of 2025. We responded to 2,054 calls for service. 30 of those were alarms and 6 of the alarms were found to be valid. Accidents says we responded to 66. It's actually 67, with 18 being reportable and 49 being non-reportable. We drove a total of 18,901 miles. We performed extra traffic enforcement on South High Street, South Five Points Road, East Market Street, Route 100, Taylor's Mill Road, and Glen Avenue, Turner Lane, Grove Road, Windsor Drive, and I will add Paley Pike after a little research today. Our officers performed their normal training functions, and in addition to that, a good half of the department went through their UTV training for the UTV we got for the park. Lieutenant Grandizio continued his Northwestern School of Police Staff and Command training. And Detectives Torres, Cuddy, Edwards, and May attended baby and toddler fatality investigation training. In the area of assists, or in the area of alarms, only one of the alarms was of the highest fine rate, so either a 6th or 7th violation for the year, with most of them falling in as the first violation of the year, so that's pretty good for July. In the assists 2, we performed 12 assists for a total of approximately 6.5 hours, and we received 21 assists from other departments. That is the report from the police department. I'll certainly be happy to answer any questions.
Questions from the board?
I have a question just on the false alarms, Chief Carroll. Last month you gave your mid-year alarm report along with the other reports for the police department. In 2024 there was 46 alarms and then false alarms, and then in 2025 there was 42. So there was a downward trajectory there, and it was reinforced also by this month. It looks like this month there was only 4 billed false alarms, whereas last month there was 7. Is it safe to say, given we changed the fee structure for false alarms, it's beginning to have an effect on the community as far as people changing their behavior with these false alarms? Or is it still too soon to make that call?
I would like to do it as a year-end assessment, yeah, but just because different times of the year, weather, people's activities trigger different behaviors. But if we can look at an entire year, I think we can make a better assessment.
So you would be cautious and hold on through the other year?
Always cautious.
Okay. Fine, very good, thank you.
Other questions from the board? Chief, I just wanted to follow up on the traffic safety report. You mentioned about the Paley Pike cross at the West Goshen Shopping Center. So we had a Mr. Harry Travis here about a month ago.
Yes.
And he had raised the concern about traffic safety on Paley Pike exiting his property onto that street. What did the Traffic Safety Division find with respect to traffic flow on Paley Pike out of the shopping center?
So there's no comparison that we know of. We didn't do a traffic study there before as far as the number of cars, but we did do 6 traffic enforcement times in the last month at the exit, or the 900 block there. We issued no citations for that violation. We've also had no accidents at that location.
It was, you know if they witnessed anyone trying to make a turn
Don't
left?
know the answer to
Okay.
that. But, well, we account for warnings too, and there were none of those.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Quick question, how about accidents on Westchester Pike where the new light went in at the 202?
There have been those,
Yeah.
yes.
I
The new
mean-
light has triggered several accidents.
Yeah, at least, right?
Yeah.
I mean, is that something you think over time people are just gonna get used to the fact
I
that the
think
light
it's
is
new
there?
behavior. I think people just are not used to that light being
Yeah.
there. Yep.
Well, I will say, I almost missed the light, and the reason being is because there's a bridge there,
Yeah.
and you don't see the light until after you pass under the bridge,
You're
and then
going
you see the
towards-
light going towards town.
Yeah.
So if you're heading west on Route 3, as much as I go in that area, I missed it.
Mhm.
And the light was red, so I had to stop, but I didn't see it till after I went under the bridge.
It's interesting. So
The
you
bridge
think
is covering it.
Okay.
So it is hard, it's easy to do, unless you're used to it. I basically almost went through a red light as a result of that. Now, you didn't hear that.
Almost. It's not horseshoes.
I
But
did
it-
go through the red light, but it's easy to do.
Yeah.
Is the visibility of that light then, does it warrant one of those, that signal that tells you whether the red light is ahead, like you have on Airport Road there, where you can't
We
see
can
the light
certainly-
because of the overpass?
You can certainly bring it up with PennDOT. I would suspect the actual visibility, the sightline distance is okay, but we can bring it up.
Okay. So,
It probably meets all standards, but
Right.
in reality, human nature,
I think you're right, it's habit.
yeah.
it's
It's just,
100%.
yeah,
That's what I think.
yeah.
okay, any other questions for the chief from the board? Is there anyone in attendance with a question for the chief? Okay.
Well, just one other question. Can you give us an update on the patrol vehicle that is totaled in the accident some time back? We have a replacement. Can you give us a status on that?
Yeah, we have the replacement. It's getting upfitted, so it's going to be probably a couple weeks till it's on the road when we have it.
I have one other traffic. Brian, you may be able to help with this. I talked to Brian about, and one of the residents also brought it up at the board meeting in public comment, the intersection of Little Shiloh and West Town Road. Do you know what the status? I know they were talking about potentially a 4-way stop sign there.
Who was talking about it?
Brian.
Brian.
And Brian Grissler and Brian.
So I'm not aware of that conversation. I have to
okay.
ask him.
Brian and I have not connected since the last board meeting.
Okay.
He was off, and then I was off,
Okay.
and our schedules have not connected, but we have emailed that we're going to talk about it. I believe the last time that Brian did the traffic study for me, the traffic counts did not meet the warrants for a stop sign, a 4-way stop, based on PennDOT warrants.
I'm shocked.
It's PennDOT warrants for a 4-way stop. All 4 legs have to meet the warrant to have a 4-way stop. So the last time he did it, him and I, I'm going to talk to him about it and see if we have another one done after school opens again. But the university and the schools are in session and have the traffic counts done again, because you got to have a week. It's 4 to 5 weeks to count the intersection, because each intersection needs a week of count. Each leg has to be counted independently.
And what about the visibility? Because I know if I'm going across the Falcon Lane and I'm trying to look, I'm halfway in the road to see if anything's coming down West Town Road.
That's a PennDOT issue. That's not a township issue. It's a
Okay.
it's a PennDOT.
Yeah, I know it's a
road.
PennDOT road.
So we have to meet the PennDOT warrants for the stop sign. And as of the last traffic study, which was done I believe it was last year or earlier this year when he did the studies, only 1 leg met the warrants.
So we look at visibility plus,
The visibility is not necessarily a full warrant for a 4-way stop, because the visibility is for the stop sign you're sitting at, not the traffic coming through.
right, and what about the stop sign I'm sitting at that I can't
Yeah.
see?
So the visibility is an issue that the property that needs to be addressed for the property to trim back. And I believe the site we're talking about is an HOA for that. It depends on the property and where it is to meet the PennDOT site distance requirements. That's another thing that can be measured to see if it meets the PennDOT site distance standards. PennDOT has their own standard for site distance, it's not ours, it's theirs.
Okay, so we have to contact PennDOT to determine
We can check it,
visibility?
we can check it.
Okay,
We can check the site distance.
Okay, good.
That is something that we can check as a township.
good, that would be good. Thank you.
Chief, has the date been set for the next police community meeting?
Yes.
October 9th.
Thank you. October the 9th,
At
6
6
o'clock.
o'clock.
Going to be here?
Have not reserved a room yet. I'll follow up with that when I send that email out.
All right,
Any other questions? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
We do have our monthly reports from Good Fellowship Ambulance, from Goshen Fire Company, and Westchester Fire Company. If the board has any questions or follow-up, obviously we know who to contact, so that information is available. We will move on to agenda item number 8, Board of Supervisors announcements. Starting on my right, Ashley.
The only announcement that I have is that I was able to attend the, I don't know if it's a grand opening, but the soft opening for the Target on the 14th, 12th. I don't know if any of you have had a chance to check out the new Target yet, but thanks to Target for inviting us, and hopefully it doesn't cause too much of the traffic right here, but it seems to be going okay so far.
Yes, we have had no issues. I mean, the parking lot is really crowded, but we have.
It also just opened, so we'll see, yeah. That's
Okay,
all.
thank you, Ashley. John?
Tuesday, July the 22nd, along with Supervisor Nate Woolman, myself, we met with the Public Works Director and Assistant Director, and we discussed several issues, namely the current and future stormwater projects, and also the merger of the Streets and Parks and Rec Department into one department, which at this time seems to be going pretty well. And Monday, July 28th, we met with Dandelions Digital, which is the consulting company providing the township with media services such as an e-newsletter, and we reviewed the services that they provide to the township. And on Monday, July 28th through Saturday, August 2nd, I participated in the Goshen Fair. Wednesday, August 6th, attended the Land Planning Committee meeting where we had further discussion and development of the zoning ordinance rewrite. Specifically, we discussed definitions and administration of the zoning ordinance. On Saturday, August 9th, I attended the courtyard dedication at the Township Building in the memory of Supervisor Dr. White. On Tuesday, August 12th, attended the Planning Commission meeting as the board liaison. And on Wednesday, August 13th, attended the Fire and EMS Coalition meeting and discussed an update in the acquisition of emergency blocking equipment and current legislation in Harrisburg. I'm sure Tina will talk more on that. Tuesday, August 19th, today, along with Tina Marie Smith, I met with the Chief Carroll for a monthly liaison board meeting with them. That concludes my report.
Thank you, John. Tina?
Okay. On August 5th, went to the Elmwood Zoo. PICO gave us $5,000 award for, or actually grant. What would you call an award, a grant?
It's a grant.
It's a grant, okay, $5,000, which was received from the National Lands and PICO. We had the pleasure of having breakfast with the new president and CEO of PICO, David Vallis. Very nice man and enjoyable meeting with him, along with other townships were there also. On August 6th, meeting with Good Fellowship. August 9th, the dedication for Dr. White in the courtyard, which was a very nice affair. On August 10th, I attended the Philly Blue Magic, which was attended by about 600 people. It was a concert here at the community park. It was excellent. They're here every year and they do a really good job. On August 13th, we had our Fire and EMS Coalition, and some of the things we talked about was, first one was having other townships join the coalition. That was a recommendation from somebody on the coalition, and we talked about it there, and we decided that's a great idea. So after the coalition meeting, we did invite East Bradford, East Goshen, Westchester Borough, Westtown, and West Whiteland. And we sent a letter explaining to them what our goals were, our initiatives, what we've done so far, what we plan on doing in the future, and what some of the topics were. And East Bradford was extremely interested, and so was Westchester Borough. We hadn't heard from the other townships, but we are going to invite them to our October meeting. And at that point, we'll see who shows up. But those two are extremely interested. We also talked about the emergency blocking equipment and getting a truck to adapt to the attenuator that we're trying to put together. So that's in the workings right now. We also talked about the 2024 fire relief distribution to see if we need to take a look and maybe change the distribution percentages that are being allocated right now. And the outcome was leave everything the way it is. So we also talked about the Montgomery Avenue flooding and emergency personnel detour signs. And what that's about is when Montgomery Avenue is flooded and they're notified by Chester County that that road has to be closed down. The police were noticing that the ambulances that are not from this area don't know the detour route to get to the hospitals if they're not familiar with the area with Montgomery Avenue being closed. So we talked about some type of detour signs. Now, a lot of those roads are PennDOT roads, so it becomes into a little bit of a problem. But Chaz, who's our director with Good Fellowship, is going to be working with our police department at West Goshen and anybody else that's necessary to talk about, and maybe just get Chester County involved too. So it's something we talked about that we'll take a look at. Some of the other things, legislation we talked about was House Bill 393, 857, and 1152. And then I also, on August 14th, I attended the Senior Center. I like to go there every quarter just to keep them updated on what's happening in the community, not just West Goshen, but Chester County itself. Some of the initiatives that our representatives, state representatives have done for the township or for the county also. And they like it. We also met with the chief, and one of the things we did talk about was the blue envelope, which is going to be coming out. We just got 5,000 of them delivered today. And basically what it is, it's a blue envelope. In the past, they were using it just for autism and people that were driving and they were autistic. But the chief actually had a great idea. Let's use it for special needs, which encompasses like hearing impaired, any other special needs. And what it is, inside that envelope is certain things like their registration, their license, a contact person, because if they get aggressive, maybe because they don't understand what's happening, the police can call the contact person. And then on the front, it has police instructions and various steps that they have to do. And then on the back is what the actual driver should be doing. And it's kept in the glove compartment so they can hand it over to the police officer if they get pulled over for whatever reason. So that's coming out. It's going to be on social media. We're going to be putting it, kind of an example of what it is. And they'll be available, the envelopes will be available at the police stations. So I think you're in the process of doing that right now, correct? Getting the envelopes out to everybody. So if anybody needs one, or spread the word. That's all I have.
Thank you, Jean. Just to follow up on that, is it being done in coordination or conjunction with any of the other local police departments?
Okay.
Okay, great, and thank you. Nate?
Thank you. As John said, July 22nd, we had a meeting with the Streets Department. August 9th, I attended the dedication of the pavilion for Dr. White. August 12th, I attended the Target dedication. And also on August 12th, I attended the Planning Commission meeting. That's all.
Thank you, Nate. The board met in executive session on July the 22nd to discuss legal matters associated with real estate property code violations and blighted property. We also met in executive session on August the 5th to discuss legal matters associated with the audit firm failing to complete the 2024 audits by the required deadline. I participated in the 723 Pension Committee meeting as the board liaison, the 724 Historic Commission meeting to ask the Historic Commission to complete their list of historic properties, to be able to bring it to the Board of Supervisors meeting as soon as possible. On 728, I met with Dandelions Digital. John had mentioned that the board were meeting with Dandelions to review their service offering, and I believe we're going to have a presentation from them in October. And then it was my pleasure to participate in the Dr. Robert White Courtyard dedication on August the 9th. That concludes my announcements. Does anyone have any questions for the board? Okay, we'll move on to agenda item number 9, Township Manager's announcements.
So my first announcement is the township offices will be closed on Monday, September 1st in recognition of the Labor Day holiday. Trash and recycling will be adjusted by 1 day that week through the holiday, and we'll post the information as it gets closer, but we have posted the new dates on the township website. We are getting started on our preparation for the 2026 budget. Township staff met internally to review updates to the township's 10-year capital plan actually yesterday. and we are planning to do a presentation to the board at the September 6th meeting, or September 16th meeting, excuse me. I do anticipate many items to be shifted accordingly based on a review of the replacement schedule. And our finance director, Christine Riffey, is going forward and making the changes that were discussed yesterday by the staff for preparation for presentation in front of the board. Our e-newsletter will be issued on this Friday, August 22nd. In terms of ordinances that are underway, the landscaping ordinance that's been reviewed by this Sustainability Advisory Committee was discussed at their July 22nd meeting. We're waiting for some updates related to the zoning, to removal of provisions in the zoning ordinance being done by the Township Solicitor's Office, and then it'll be brought back to the SAC for further discussion and then movement forward to the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors. The Historic Resource Ordinance, it is my understanding that the discussion regarding the Resource Atlas will be completed at their August 28th meeting, and then it will go through the normal process as it's a land use amendment. It'll need to go to our Planning Commission and the County Planning Commission for review prior to adoption. The PA Auditor's General's Office completed the audit of the township's liquid fuels usage on August 6th. This covered the periods of 2021 through 2024. I am pleased to report that there were no findings or comments, and the auditor noted that all the township's records were in great order. Our fire and EMS service contracts with Goshen and Good Fellowship Ambulance Company are both expiring at the end of 2025, so the end of this year. We received the draft contract from GFAC. We're still waiting on the draft from Goshen, but I have communicated with Grant, and I see him nodding, that we should have that forthcoming. The contract by GFAC has been forwarded to the Solicitor's Office for review. In terms of our paving program, the paving portion of the Township's 2025 paving program was completed on August 6th. There were no major issues during this year's project. There are a few outstanding items to complete, including ceiling, line painting, and any punch list items identified by Carroll Engineering. But in terms of base repair, the Public Works Director has reported to me that he's still reviewing quantities from the project, but the base repair on the project was very minimal. So as a result, I do anticipate it coming in under budget as it has in years past. All right. So as Mr. Walsh had noted, we have had a delay on our receipt of our 2024 audit. I will note that we did receive the final drafts, and all the comments have been fulfilled that have been provided by the finance director, and I'm hopeful that we will have the final statements soon for a presentation in front of the board.
We've requested that the auditor present at the September 2nd meeting.
That is correct.
Okay.
The items authorized for bid are currently listed on Municipid, and they are closing on August 28th. Those will be brought back before the Board of Supervisors for potential awarding at the September 2nd meeting. And we did do our first public inspection on August 18th, and our next public inspection will be August 26th. Got a few phone calls and some interest in those items. And then the last two items that I will go over are as it relates to the Westchester University Master Plan. At the last meeting, the board did review a proposal from Urban Engineers to do the review of the University Master Plan. The Township Solicitor did provide comments on those, and we have sent those on to Urban Engineers. And I do know that Westchester Borough did recently discuss this at a recent meeting. However, Brian and I received an email today that they wanted some additional information before making a decision, and Brian did provide that to their borough manager, Sean Metrick. So hopefully we can wrap this up in September. We do have an extension until November 30th in which to hold the hearing. I did post the master plan documents on the township website. They are under the community tab. So there's a heading right there for the university master plan. It is right under where the overlay information was posted, so I put it in the same location. And then in terms of our solar energy array, we finished all the work. We are still having a connectivity issue, but I think that it's hopefully going to be resolved this week. I know Mike has been in touch with Terrasol and Keystone Engineering Group. It is on, it is active, it is generating electricity, but we're not getting any of the data. There's an internet connectivity issue between the inverters and the system. So we can't really see what we're generating, but we do know that it is working.
Is that a Terrasol issue?
Yes. We might have to run Cat5 and just hardwire everything into the system, but Mike's been working very diligently on it.
We need that in place in order to be able to, like 2 months of inverter data,
Yes,
to be able to qualify for the PICO setup over there.
yes. And he's not aware of any, he can't access anything, so he can't even see if there's any kind of data that is being generated that we just can't see. He's been working with Terrasol trying to get this issue resolved.
I was gonna say, is Terrasol like cooperating, or are they gonna send something?
Yes, they are cooperating. I think they're coming out, they might be coming out tomorrow or next Wednesday, I can't remember. But there have been emails going back and forth, and he's engaged Keystone Engineering to kind of help push this along. I have done our pre-registration with the IRS for the rebate under the Inflation Reduction Act. It is still under review, and in my conversation with the IRS, it could take up to 120 days to go through the pre-registration process. But I'm anticipating that based on the invoices that we've received now, we're looking around $158,000 for a rebate. Because the all-in price right now for the construction plus the engineering cost is roughly $527,000. We're still waiting for some bills from Keystone, and we do still have one or two more payment applications to go out to Terrasol. I believe it's about $73,000 is still being held.
Okay.
Then finally, the North Hill Storm Sewer Project. Chris Peterson has issued the notice to proceed. We've communicated with the Civic Association and the individuals who have granted the township easements for the projects. We're still, based on the most recent email that we received, we're still on track for delivery of the structure sometime around the end of August and beginning the construction work probably end of August, beginning of September.
Is the article work completed?
I don't believe it's been completed, but I know they did do their PA1 call. Has it been completed, Brian?
Yeah, so Aqua's working on it. I know that they have the valves installed. We don't know if they've cut the pipe out yet.
Okay.
But they've worked on the valve installation. They did hit the water service for Doug.
Okay.
They hit his water service and broke his service, but it was the Aqua guys that did it. And substantial completion date will be by the notice received November 16th for that project. That's part of my report.
Okay.
Sorry. That's everything I have.
Thank you, Chris. Are there any questions for a township manager?
Just one question here on the equipment set up on municipal bid. We see there's a Caterpillar forklift. Now, we don't have to accept the bid that's received from municipal bid. We can decline that, is that correct?
The board has the option to accept or reject any bids that are received.
Okay, so then we'll be in a position if we were to donate that forklift to the fire training center.
That is a policy decision for the board to make.
Okay.
Any other questions for Chris? Very good. We'll move on to agenda item number 10, Township Engineers Announcements.
I only have a couple announcements tonight. First off, Government Services Center Basin is under maintenance by the contractor. I hope to have a drone flight next month for you guys to show you an update. Jonathan needed the drone this afternoon, so I wasn't allowed. I didn't get to fly it today. Basin Road, I know that they're still working on the final easement documentation with one property owner to get that project ready to bid. One property owner has been, I won't say non-cooperative, but doesn't want to grant the township a permanent easement. They want it only temporary. So Chris have been working with the property owner. Once we have that documentation in place, then we'll be in position to finish the drawings and get it out to bid. Next, the township has 4 reports. We have a 5-year report for status of our last 5 years, and also the annual report are both due again in September this year. So that'll take up most of my month of September to put those 2 reports together. And lastly, I issued a latest punch list for the Greystone Trails on August the 6th. They were in pretty good shape overall. There's a few things that I picked up, but not too many. And we'll see when they address my punch list.
Or you say not too many?
like probably 14 items. But they were just more like, I issued it as pictures because it was easier to take a picture
Was it
of
made
it.
of these like dead trees overhanging that?
Dead
kind of thing?
trees and overhang. I did do the punch list with Mark Bertolami, wrote along with me. So he got a sense of what's out there, and he picked up a couple items that he wanted me to, just a couple areas of washout that were never repaired. So those were picked up.
Okay. Let's go back to the MS4 reports. We had the PADP inspection earlier this year. They had several action items that we needed to follow up on. Are we progressing those, or are you waiting till this report's done and address them in the fourth quarter this year? What's your plan on those?
The 3 of the 4 items that have been addressed, the 4th item is the 5-year report. That was one of the items to be addressed in the report, was to
Oh,
submit
really?
the 5-year report.
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
So the website has been updated, standard operating procedures that they requested have been written. I have them in front of
Okay.
the Public Works. And then the other one was the 5-year report.
Okay, awesome. Any questions for Brian from the board? Is there any public questions for Brian? Thank you, Brian. We'll move on to agenda item number 11, zoning officers announcements. Shelby,
I have nothing significant to report this evening.
nothing significant or
Nothing
nothing at all?
There is one zoning hearing board case, just a residential case for a fence at 111 Anthony Lane. That will be going to the zoning hearing board next Monday. But that is truly it, just working through development.
Thank you. Is there any questions for Shelby? Very good. We'll move on to the next agenda item, number 12, which is approval of the Board of Supervisors meeting minutes for July the 15th, 2025. Does the board have any comments or corrections to the meeting minutes? I have one. Find where it was. Yes, on page 5. Chris. 4th paragraph down, it starts, Mr. Walsh asked about the construction timeline. It was actually Mr. Hellman that asked that question.
And I did receive 2 typos from Mr. Wallman, and I made those changes.
So those corrections, the typos, and Mr. Hellman is the asker of that question. I will make a motion to approve the Board of Supervisor meeting minutes for July the 15th. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Nate. Is there any questions or comments from the board? Is there any public comments or questions? Very good. We'll take a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Is there any opposition? Hearing none, the motion passes 5-0. Agenda item number 13 is approval of the Treasurer's Report dated July the 31st for the General Fund, the Sewer Revenue Fund, the Waste and Recycling Fund, and the Capital Reserve Fund, and the bills to be paid from these funds. Does the board have any questions or comments on the Treasurer's Report or the bills list? Okay, I will make a motion to approve the Treasurer's Report and the bills to be paid. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Nate. Last chance for comments or questions from the board. Is there any public comments or questions on the bills list or the Treasurer's Report? Okay, we'll take a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Is there any opposition? Hearing none, the motion passes 5-0. I will motion to adjourn the meeting at 6:51. Is there a second? Thank you, Ashley. All in favor of adjournment say aye. Aye. Thank you, everyone. We are adjourned.